Okay, people, so Screamboat. The good people had a signature hook this one up, and it's the new film from Steven LaMorte, who directed and co-wrote it with Matthew Garcia-Dunn. The film is produced by Steven Della Sala, Michael Leavy, Amy Schumacher, and Steven LaMorte. It is executive produced by Jason Schnell, Tommy Savas, Martin Mello, who also produces, Matt Levy, Julian Didon. It's associate produced by Christian Cordella, Pierre Goulet, Paul Italia, sorry people, and Marcus Slabine. It is co-produced by Christian Beckman and co-executive produced by Kelly May. Charles Henry Avalanche took care of the music with Yale Benmore. Steven Della Sala was also down with cinematography. Patrick Lawrence edits the piece. Production design, we have Tony Pulley and John Michael Hasty. Adrienne Reshu and Danny Thomas, art direction. Costume design is Aaron Crosby. We got hair, makeup, special makeup, prosthetics, all of that jazz, right? It's Cody J. Wilkins, Ashley Field, Colette Sweeney, Margaret Pretence, Sean Kenny, Jamali Green, Eve Chen, Shannon Lee Carroll, Bria Campbell, Adriana Black, and Blucha Z. Allison. So our cast, right? We have got Screamboat Willie is played by David Howard Thornton. There's oh boy, who have we got? Pete played by Jess Posey. Cindy played by Kailey Hyman. Captain Clark played by Brian Scolaro. Isa Irendell played by Sarah Kopkin. TJ played by Tommy Bechtold. EMT Amber played by Amy Schumacher. You got Borough President Molinari played by Charles Edwin Powell. Albert played by Ken Maharaj. Ariana played by Savannah Whitten. Deckhand Bert Brusenwick played by Michael Leavy. Bella played by Stephanie Bates. Jazzy played by Poonam Basu. Deckhand Roscoe played by Jayme Woj. Selena played by Allison Pittel. There's Charlie Delaronzo played by Steve Della Sala. Cyclist Pete played by Jason Lockhart. Barry played by Jarla Connery. Audrey played by Allyson Sereboff. Dominique played by Julia Schroeder. Jamie played by Rachel Victoria Moore. Philip played by Corey Mitzok. Moses played by Jarod Lindsey. First Mate Tommy played by Michael Defilippis. Matteo, played by Rumi C. Jean-Louise. Our cowboy, played by Gilbrando Acevedo. Rory, played by Ali Sibold. Hilda, played by Alexandra Acosta. I think that's Matteo's mum, I think. Officer Chris, played by Peter Romano. Officer Pat, played by Buzz Roddy. Liz, played by Tammi Cubilette. Cassandra Ruiz, played by Frankie. Who else? Joe DeRosa was in it, who plays Paul Sanguino. Officer Martinez, played by Anthony E. Williams. Lieutenant Diaz, played by Jesse Cove. Mitch Everly, played by Brian Quinn. Jared Johnson plays Neil. And radio operator Mike, played by Tyler Posey. Yes, so there we have it, right? The gist of the film: a seemingly routine late night ferry ride in New York City descends into chaos when an ordinary mouse undergoes a terrifying transformation. This mutated creature unleashes a reign of terror upon the unsuspecting passengers, forcing them to fight for their survival. As the body count rises, the remaining survivors must band together to find a way to escape the deadly vessel and confront the monstrous threat. So, yeah. Screamboat. I mean, this was just confusing as a motherfucker for me, right? It's based on Walt Disney's Steamboat Willie, you know? And because, you know, that fell into the public domain, right? People are like, ooh, let's do something with that. I don't know why it was this. I mean, it's kind of bonkers, right? It is kind of bonkers. It's just very weird because the Steamboat Willie doesn't look like a mouse at all, right? You're like, if anything, it looks more like a deformed Roland rat. Now, I guess you might only get that if you're UK, right? But, and of a certain age. But, yeah, it doesn't look like a mouse. If anything, a rat or just, I don't know, something weird. But we don't know where it, because the thing being, right, at the start, when there's a kind of setup beneath the shit, all of that kind of jazz, the noises happen before the hatch is opened, right? So it's not like, oh, these people unleashed this thing, because it was already out. So why now for all the death and craziness? You know what I mean? Like, these things aren't explained at all. Like, it just doesn't necessarily make any sense, you know? We have all these people coming on the boat, so obviously, right, then it just gets to who will survive, who will die. And I think, like, for it to, I guess, work better, have less people on the boat, right? You can still have people on the boat, but just less, because the way they killed most of them was just kind of dumb, right? Because you can look at this as a kind of Final Destination type thing, you know? But in that one, it's mainly single death shots, right? Single death, maybe a couple die, right? But not masses and masses all at once. So you gotta, I think about, right, what's the most impact. And the mass death also doesn't, because of the VFX, which are, they're not great. Now, it's an indie film, so, you know, you can have subpar VFX and it still be fun, right? It can still be fun, goofy, and just work in the context of what you're doing. So that's not the death kill for a movie. But the rest of it has to work. And we have just got, the script is insane. Right? We got characters dropping horrible Disney references all the time. Like, it really is a small world after all. It's just like, oh. But then you had Pete constantly, I don't want to be a captain. And just in the context of what is going down, right? All the craziness, right? The death and just everything. No one is going to be wasting time going, but I don't want to be the captain. Stop calling me captain. You know what I mean? They're just going to be like, all right, let's just go. Let's just do this, right? There's just too much of stopping and being like, hey, what about, yeah. And you're just like, no one's doing that shit. No one's doing that shit. Right? You've got the kid Matteo. And it's just like, what's the deal with Matteo, right? Because he doesn't say a word, basically, throughout the film, but then does say something, but then goes to not say anything. And you're just like, what are we doing with this kid? Because there's a bit where the kid could say something and, you know, but yeah, it's like, why isn't the kid talking? Give us something. Give us a reason, maybe. You know what I mean? But we don't. The drunk girls. Oh my boy. It's one of those ones, you know, like we see it in films and TV all the time. And they're trying to show intoxicated people, but it's done so badly. Because it's just like, no one acts like that. And, you know, you can have one person be mad drunk in the group, but for everyone is acting exactly the same. And you're just like, no. Come on now. Like, most of these people have probably been drunk at least once in their lives. At least. So, you know how to play it. But we just get this nonsense. There's a weird, out of nowhere, we get this weird nudity moment, which is just like, hey, where did this come from? Like, what is going on? And in that moment, like, it's another, because at the very start of the film, we get the sense of the size of Steamboat Willie. But then later on, you're like, wait, hold on. Are we saying Steamboat is only... And then, in this whole nudity scene, you get Willie basically up against a Willie. And so you're just like, how big is Steamboat Willie? Because this makes no sense. Now, obviously, right, what they have done is, you know, they've got, what's homie's name? David Howard Thornton. They've got David Howard Thornton to dress up as this Steamboat Willie, and then they've, you know, used effects to kind of desize him. But it's just not consistent throughout the film. So it is very weird, right? It's very weird. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. You're just like, what is going on? I don't know. I do not know. I'm confused, right? So yeah, it's oh boy, it is very odd, right? Electricity. We know electricity is conducted by metal, right? That's just, Now, water, definitely, that's messy. But even without water, metal. And you need, something to cut that metal off, right? So there would need to be something substantial, and of a different material, like rubber, to then insulate another bit of metal. So there's a bit in this film where you're like, hold on. If we're saying that, surely people on this other bit of metal are still going to be affected, right? Oh, I mean, you can look at certain films like Final Destination. They might not be your cup of tea and blah, blah, blah. But usually the death mechanics do make somewhat sense in the context of what is going on, right? In this, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense, right? Willie doesn't talk, but then we have this whole weird moment where supposedly, actually I can't say any more on that, but we have this weird moment, right? So you're just like, well, this can't happen unless we have a conversation. Also, throughout the film, you have Willie whistling. And it's just like, wait, Willie can't talk. How the fuck is Willie whistling? Now, I get it, right? You want some sort of indicator, right? Some sort of thing, be like, oh, shit is coming. Have Willie, I don't know, growl, purr. I don't know what noises mice make. It squeak, something. But a whistle, human whistle or humming, doesn't work. It's like, this is weird. This is weird. And the end of injury. When we have people get mad injured, even though you would go, people wearing protective shoes. Protective shoes, it's hard for things to go through a shoe sole on a protective shoe. And especially if you're not putting you'd need to really come down so hard, right? So we have this one thing, but then straight away, basically, it's like nothing happened because the person is walking around fine. And you're like, huh? So yeah, the film is mad inconsistent. It is very, very odd. Very odd. And the ending doesn't make any sense. Because there's not really any need for it. Right? There's not any. And how would you know that shit is there anyway? It's kind of baffling. And then we do get a setup for a potential sequel, which, I think they are making. Which doesn't surprise me, but boy. So I would say Screamboat is for the lovers of B-movies. Right? The lovers of the type of horror films that are on Sci-Fi Channel. Like Sharknado and all of... If you love those kind of things, you will possibly like Screamboat. Right? We had... recently we looked at Dino Cobra. I think it was... Or Cobra Dino, whatever that crazy nonsense was. If you love that, you'll dig Screamboat, right? So that's the barometer for this, and it's playing in cinemas, but only View cinemas. Not quite sure why, but yeah, only if you want to see it on the big screen, you gotta go to a View. Now there are Views all over the shop, so that's not, it's not necessarily a hindrance, but yeah, it's playing from the 2nd of April in View cinemas. People, that is Screamboat.